Hi, good afternoon. My name is Bailey Larson. I'm on the Patent and Exclusivity team in the Office of Generic Drug Policy. I'll be presenting today with my colleague, Commander Andrew Kim, from the Office of Regulatory Operations about prioritizing your original and supplemental ANDAs. I'll be using my time with you to review criteria that OGD uses to assess a valid prioritization request, recognize the most commonly used prioritization factors from the MAPP, discuss key considerations when selecting a prioritization factor, and I'll provide an overview of the new Onshoring prioritization pilot. I'm starting with this slide because it is the most important takeaway from this presentation. When submitting a request for priority review, all of the following criteria must be met for your ANDA or supplemental ANDA to be considered. Out of order. Number one, the cover letter to the submission must clearly state priority review requested and reference the ANDA number. Number two, the basis for the request must be consistent with one of the factors in the MAPP. The MAPP is titled Prioritization of the Review of Original ANDAs, Amendments, and Supplements. Three, the applicant must clearly and briefly state the basis for the request, including the factor. And number four, the applicant must include sufficient supporting documentation of the request. It's important to note that submissions related to drug shortage, public health emergency, or meeting the requirements of Section 501J11A of the FD&C Act may be eligible for priority review in the absence of an explicit request. So today I'm going to focus our short time on the two common factors that we see. The first is submissions for which there are not more than 3 approved drug products. And the second factor we'll be discussing is applications containing P4 or paragraph 4 certification. So if you are requesting priority review under the not more than 3 approved drug products factor, it's important to note that there must be no blocking patents or exclusivities in the Orange Book. This includes a patent that an ANDA is required to address with a paragraph 3 or a paragraph 4 certification. So often we see proposed justification that litigation has been dismissed with certifications that have a P4, and it's important to note that that still counts as a blocking patent no matter the status of the litigation. If your ANDA has a paragraph 4 or P4 certification, it may be eligible for priority review under this factor. We encourage you to view the status of the drug product and 180-day exclusivity on the paragraph 4 website. And documentation is really key here to show that your ANDA will be eligible for final approval before the goal date. There's 3 circumstances where this factor applies that's important to understand and use in your documentation for this request, depending on the status that's listed on the P4 website of 180-day. The first circumstance is if you are a first applicant and 180-day exclusivity has not been extinguished. Second circumstance is if you're a subsequent applicant and 180-day exclusivity is triggered but not expired. And the third circumstance is for other ANDAs with P4 certifications if there are fewer than 4 approved drug products in the Orange Book, including the RLD. In other words, if 180-day exclusivity is extinguished, but there's still fewer than 4 approved drug products. These 3 circumstances you will see bulleted in the MAPP under this prioritization factor and should be noted in your request. So some helpful tips for your requests. Make sure you are selecting the right prioritization factor with clear justification. If the wrong factor is selected, or any of the criteria from slide 3 that I mentioned earlier are not met, your ANDA may not qualify for priority review. There's no additional benefit to meeting multiple prioritization factors, and there generally must be an explicit request at the time of submission that includes the prioritization factor or factors under which the applicant believes the submission qualifies. If you are submitting an ANDA supplement or amendment to a supplement, only these factors apply. Drug shortage, public health emergency, submissions related to certain government purchasing programs, submissions subject to statutory mandates and other legal requirements, or requests pursuant to 21 CFR 31470B4, otherwise known as extraordinary hardship. Now I just want to bring to your attention and awareness the new ANDA prioritization pilot to support U.S. generic drug and manufacturing and testing. This was announced last fall. The criteria include the finished dosage form manufacturer or manufacturers must be located in the U.S. The active pharmaceutical ingredient or OPI suppliers must also be located in the U.S. And either the pivotal BE testing was conducted in the U.S. or the ANDA qualifies for a waiver of BE testing. Under the current pilot, all 3 must be met to qualify. And here's my challenge question. So a request for priority review must have which of the following? A cover letter that clearly states priority review requested. B, a clear statement of the basis for the request, including the factor or noting the onshoring prioritization pilot. C, supporting documentation for the request. D, a basis for the request that is consistent with the MAPP, or once again, the onshoring prioritization pilot, or E, all of the above. And the answer is E, all of the above. Commander. Thank you, everyone.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. So this is part 2 of the prioritization request presentation that I'll cover. Bailey did a great job presenting on some of the most common prioritization factors and some helpful tips and the new prioritization pilot. So over the next 10 minutes, I'm going to go over some of the learning objectives today, which are what is the priority review and what are some of the benefits? Describe the process for prioritizing original ANDAs, amendments, and supplements. What are the roles and responsibilities? So who are the decision makers responsible for applying the prioritization outline in the MAPP to the review of specific submissions? And then finally, I'll cover some of the common mistakes to avoid when submitting a prioritization request. So we'll start off with a poll question. Which of the following is not true? A, original ANDA or amendment must meet one of the prioritization factors in MAPP 5240.3 to qualify for priority review. B, an ANDA supplement that addresses a public health emergency qualifies for priority review. C, FDA will evaluate whether priority review will be granted without an explicit request from applicant at the time of submission. Or D, submissions that are eligible for priority review may receive a shorter goal date or expedited review. All right, so I heard C, that's correct. So this is a little bit of a trick question if you were paying attention to the last presentation from Bailey. So FDA will not evaluate a prior review without an explicit request, but there are certain circumstances or exceptions to that rule. So meaning if there's a drug shortage, a public health emergency, in those cases, FDA will still evaluate that and determine whether that could qualify for prior review. But my recommendation to you would be, if it meets the MAPP, always explicitly request it. It's recommended that you do that, and it'll be quickly processed, and you'll get that prior review acknowledged sooner. So some of the key points that I want to talk about is, what is priority review? So priority review is governed by MAPP 5240.3. The current version is revision 6, which was issued in October 2022. This MAPP establishes what we call prioritization factors, so specific public health priorities that qualify your submission for faster review. So there's two main benefits to prior review that I'll cover in the next few slides. And then I'll go over how to request that prior review. So once you determine that your application may qualify for that prioritization review, what are the steps taken internally in the agency before it gets granted and acknowledged as a priority review? So the two main benefits, the first option, which is the best option, would be the shorter goal date. So according to GDF 3, for an original ANDA, it would qualify for an 8-month goal date versus a 10-month, which is the standard review process. For major amendments, if you receive that priority review and receive that shorter goal date, it would be either a 6-month, which is ones with that don't require inspection, or 8-month if you submit PFC 2 months prior. And then for prior approval supplements, it would be eligible for a 4-month goal date, which is ones that don't require an inspection, or an 8-month goal date for those that submit a PFC 2 months prior as well. I just wanted to also note here that we're not really talking about, in this point, about any minor amendments, because for those, they don't qualify for that shorter goal date, but they would be eligible for that second benefit, which is an expedited review. So that would mean that there's no change to the actual goal date, but FDA will strive to act as soon as possible, and they may complete the review prior to the goal date. So I'm going to talk briefly and kind of show you a visual picture of kind of what happens once you submit that priority review application. So step one would be the submission is received. So applicants will request that priority review in a cover letter, either for original ANDA, for an ANDA amendment, or a PAS multi-discipline supplement, or OPQ, or labeling only supplement. Or the other case, as I mentioned, would be that FDA may still identify that submission as qualifying for priority review if it's a drug shortage or public health emergency. The second step would be the evaluation stage, which is at the time of submission, we would review that prioritization factor and assign it to, it would first go to an identifier, and then we would assign it to a validator. Ideally, you as the applicant will be explicitly requesting that in the cover letter, include that prioritization factor or factors which you believe qualify for quality review, for the priority review, and state the basis for the request, including sufficient documentation. The third stage would be coordination. So depending on if it's the OGD RPM, or it could be filing review, or the labeling or OPQ RBPM, they would coordinate with OGDP or other validators, and they'll consult with OGD review disciplines and determine, which is the next step, which is the prior review will be granted or denied after consultation with the validator. If it qualifies for that shorter goal date, we'll update that goal date in our system, and you will receive an acknowledgement letter specifying that shorter goal date. Or if it's an expedited review, it will be labeled in that project, and it will allow all review disciplines to know that this qualifies for that expedited review. And then finally, the review proceeds. So prioritized submission will be reviewed according to the assigned timeline, or will be prioritized internally in queue. So some of the roles and responsibilities, as I mentioned, the OGD Regulatory Project Manager, or RPMs, they have the overall responsibility for applying the prioritization policy for original amendments, multidiscipline supplements, and they coordinate to ensure consistent prioritization across offices. The OPQ RBPMs are responsible for OPQ managed supplements, and the OGD labeling PMs would be responsible for labeling supplements only. OGD DFR, they identify those prioritization requests during filing review. So at the time of the original submission, they'll communicate with relevant OGD staff as well as the RPMs. OGDP will work with RPMs, DFR staff to identify and validate prioritization for original ANDA amendments and supplements. So some of the common mistakes that I want to go over. So the number one mistake that we see is a timing issue. So you have to make your priority review request at the time of submission. So not a week later, but at when you actually submit your application. FDA will evaluate each submission for prioritization when we receive it. So if you submit your application on Monday and without requesting priority review, and then on Friday you realize, you should have requested it, it's probably too late. We would probably have already processed your submission and assigned the goal date. This is why I'm emphasizing that if we really want you to succeed, and we don't want you to miss an opportunity because of a timing issue when you could have qualified for that shorter goal date. So second common mistake that we see is requesting priority review with each cycle. So what I mean by that is, sometimes applicants, they receive that priority review designation with their original submission, and they think, oh, this is great. Now I have priority for the entire life cycle of that application. So, you may have gotten that priority review, it goes through a review, and you may receive a complete response letter. When you respond back to that complete response letter, we've seen, certain applicants not requesting that priority review again at the time of, the next subsequent cycle. Please note that that prioritization may have been granted in the first cycle, but that doesn't necessarily carry over to the next cycle. For example, for drug shortages, we have a drug shortage list that's fluid. So you may have been, on that, you may have qualified for drug shortage in the first cycle, but in the subsequent cycles, it may have not been on that drug shortage list any longer. So it may not qualify. So, please, I just want to remind all of you guys again, with each submission, with each cycle, you need to explicitly request that priority review. Facilities. So if your facility has an official action indicated status or withhold status, generally you won't be eligible for priority review. Now, there are some exceptions to that. So for public health emergencies, those are evaluated on a case-by-case basis. So if you have outstanding compliance issues at your facilities, you need to resolve those before you can benefit from receiving a priority review designation. And then finally, cover letters. Just some things that you should watch out for. So your cover letter should be crystal clear. State that priority review request. Reference that prioritization factor that you believe that you qualify for, whether it's drug shortage, whether it's that new domestic onshoring pilot program, and then be clear in terms of citing your ANDA number and including all your supporting documentation. Make it easy for us to identify and process your request. So in summary, the primary benefit of being granted priority review for your application is that you would obtain that shorter goal date or expedited review. So this translates directly to faster time to market. And if you can get your generic product approved and on the market months earlier than your competitors, that's a significant competitive advantage. So some of the limitations that I just want to summarize are, just because you are granted priority review for multiple prioritization factors doesn't mean you get an additional benefit, meaning, you get the same priority review or same shorter goal date and as if you qualified under just one factor. Now, if there's also, as I mentioned, facility issues, you generally won't be eligible for priority review. And note that for minor amendments, those do not get a shorter goal date, but will qualify for an expedited review. So I just want to mention here about review classification changes. So if you fail to request priority review at the time of submission, you still get an extra chance to request it during that review cycle. And we can change that classification from a standard to a priority review, but the only benefit would be that expedited review benefit and not the shorter goal date, which is better. So we're not going to retroactively shorten the goal date if we later grant priority review, but we would change the classification from a standard review to a priority review. And then finally, managing expectations. So priority status does not guarantee approval, meaning review timelines will still depend on application quality. My advice is to remember that submitting a quality application is more important than trying to obtain priority review. Here are some resources. And for those in the room, I'll be around to answer some questions after this session. Thank you, and I'll have Heather come in for the next presentation.